Welcome into Lost the Plot. Today we're going to be talking about K-pop Demon Hunters. And
Yeah.
I knew nothing about this movie before I watched it. And I feel enlightened. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I thought this is the first one that has been recommended that we watch by another person.
Yes. Yeah, I can't remember
Yeah.
who recommended it, or if I just
Yeah.
had heard about it and I was like, we should talk about this movie.
But yeah, it's the most recent movie we've talked about. I think it came out. Did it come out after Superman or before?
Let me see.
Either way, it is one of the most popular movies of the year.
After.
Incredibly successful. Okay, so it is the most recent movie that we've talked about on the podcast. It's by far the most successful Netflix movie, especially the most successful Netflix animated project,
Yes.
which isn't saying a whole lot.
I don't even know what else they've had besides like
Yeah,
DreamWorks, like IP, like King Julian.
maybe
or
Castlevania.
Oh, sure.
Castlevania
Sure.
was a big one.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk. It's probably Cyberpunk.
They made a cyberpunk show?
You haven't seen the Cyberpunk show?
No.
Okay.
I've seen the okay. What?
Okay.
I knew it was a video game.
No,
I
no,
didn't
no,
know.
no. That's the most successful outside of this one. But that one, it's grittier, it's bloodier, it's more explicit. It's intended for an older audience. Whereas this one, it's obviously going for the more family-friendly, wider appeal, which I think does the project a lot. It does it a lot of favors. I think that's been a huge part of its immense popularity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. There was a little bit of, I don't want to say drama, but everyone thinks that Sony made a kind of a mistake in the way that they made this deal with Netflix. So Sony produced the film, but they sold the distribution rights to Netflix for a direct streaming type of deal.
Yeah.
I think it had a limited theatrical release. I think we know some people who went and saw it in theaters.
Did have a small one. It was very brief. I want to say it was for one weekend.
Yeah, and I didn't do enough research on this before we started, but I think they did a deal where they paid Sony like $25 million.
Okay.
And Netflix got to keep all the rest, whatever that means.
Interesting.
And so if this was any other movie, it seemed like Sony didn't really believe in the project anymore, that it was going to do well. So they wanted to just play the safe bet and just give it to Netflix because it still generated revenue. But if this was just a direct to theater release, they would have regretted that forever because it's had as many views as the United States has people.
That's crazy.
Yes. So it's kind of, that's just I think that's just the United States, but
yeah.
So yeah, but it's kind of confusing because you can't really measure how much a film contributes to like Netflix's overall revenue. How do you determine what project was worth paying for and what projects weren't? I mean, you can do it by stream count or view count, but you don't know if that was direct money that they were like, oh, I'm going to buy Netflix to watch this movie. Like I watched it because I already had the service. So
it's tough to quantify, especially when you get into there being multiple different subscription programs, some with ads, some without, some are family plans. It's very difficult to quantify some of these streaming numbers. Unless it's a project that a whole bunch of people subscribe for and then immediately unsubscribe for once they've seen it.
Which is like a free trial. You're just taking advantage of the free trial.
Yeah. And you see that with stuff like Stranger Things. What we do know is that this movie is wildly successful by the numbers.
Yes.
As to how much money it actually generated and how much everyone got paid, that is something for them to figure out on their end. But, I mean, something we've seen throughout all the streaming era has been a lot of fudging the numbers or a lot of not paying actors and the people who actually make the stories that we engage with, not actually paying them what their labor is worth. It's very common, I feel like, now that due to streaming, TVs, the contracts were a lot more set in stone. They were a lot more friendly to the workers involved in the process of production. But with streaming, everything's weird and flimsy and casual, and it's a gig economy. So I'm sure that everyone involved in this project is doing fine, but I don't think that they're benefiting immensely in their pocketbooks from the 330 million people who have seen this.
Yeah, the number I keep finding is 325 million. It's probably more than that.
Dang.
Since they released that number.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure they have ways to measure revenue and how much a show was worth it and what projects would be worth it,
Yeah.
combined with the fan bases. Because I don't think this had a like source material.
I know.
I don't think
It's
it
all
did.
original. It's just based off of Korean folklore, Korean culture, Korean mythology and demonology, mixed with just kind of K-pop culture, just kind of the norms and the fan bases and expectations that have developed around that. So it's a good synthesis of everything really influential, I think, in South Korean culture, at least on a global stage. I think that's another key factor to its success. It's distinct from other things that you see. It's something that's popular. I feel like the project a little bit is as close as we're going to get to something, cooked up in a lab, made by a Manhattan project's worth of creative people. I'm kind of surprised that Sony wouldn't have faith in the project because it's basically a slam dunk. I mean, it's everything popular. It's creative. It has that very expressive, like Into the Spider-Verse animation style that Sony Pictures has been very prolific in, very prominent in popularizing. K-pop, South Korean dramas, I mean, they're immensely popular. It's tough to go anywhere without seeing the bands. We have projects like Squid Games that are just so popular. South Korea, they're huge on soft power, just culturally. I mean, you hear about them all the time. You don't hear about other countries half as much. Japan, South Korea, they export a lot of their culture, a lot of their stories. No, this wasn't made in South Korea. This is made by Sony, domestically. But it's based off of the creators' experiences with Korean culture and familiarity with it. So it's very authentic in that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's short, it's expressive, it's unique. It's based off of things that are popular right now. I mean, you see the legs that the story has. I mean, it's lasted a very long time in the cultural imagination. I feel like I haven't stopped seeing it since it came out. Way more than other projects, that maybe they flare up for a month. This one, I think, was very, very popular. This one's lasted quite a while. I'm surprised that they didn't have more faith in the project.
Yeah, and it could be the fear of putting it in movie theaters now that people don't go to movie theaters as much.
Yeah.
Maybe the guaranteed money was worth it. But the fact that it's an original project that did this well, and then now you have to work on this messy rights situation for any sequels.
Yeah.
It seems like they could have just had a slam dunk original project. I mean, they couldn't know, obviously, besides the target screenings or that they do, or the sample screenings. But I didn't know this, but Netflix only tracks shows for 91 days.
Really?
And so I think that ended on September 19th.
Okay.
So, which I guess that would put that before Superman then. If they put it on Netflix before and then their release date that's like published is like when it went into theaters maybe.
Gotcha.
It could have been that. But yeah, as of September 19th it was 325 million. So it's been almost a month since then. So it's still going up and up and up. The music's everywhere too. I mean, yes. I didn't know these songs were from this movie, but I had heard the songs a million times.
That's another component to it, is that it's a musical. But it's not a musical so much in the sense of, something like The Lion King or something like Frozen, where it's a plot and they sing as part of the plot. Like, it's integrated into the story because they're K-pop idols. It's their career. So it's something that the characters do, but it's integrated into the story in, I think, a very effective way.
Yeah.
So it's a good way for those songs to be woven into the story and the movie. And then those songs are very popular just on Spotify and other streaming services like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess that just takes us into the story of the movie itself. I mean, like you said, the whole point is that they're these K-pop idols who have this massive following, and they sing because they're K-pop stars, but they also have to sing in order to let the power of the demon hunters, or I can't remember what, I don't think they call it anything in particular, but they have to
Yeah.
sing in order for them to fight these demons and like make their weapons and stuff, which is really cool. And they're part of like this lineage of demon hunters, which I couldn't figure out where this started, like why it started, how did they figure out it started, and how did they know that they're supposed to be the ones who are demon hunters,
Yeah.
and like where did this power come from, which is fine. Like
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily a problem.
I think to a certain degree, they're probably not too concerned about it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be with these kind of numbers, especially.
Right. I mean, there's plot points that I think are a bit thin, but I don't mean this poorly. It is a children's movie, or it is intended to be a family-friendly movie, I guess is a better way to word it. I think just having it be this weird ancient thing, it's a power that some people have. It's always a trio of women. They have it this way. They fight demons with it. I think that's probably enough for the type of story that they're telling. Even if that leaves some open-ended questions, like can there be more than 3? What's to stop somebody else from doing it? Could they add a 4th member? In the movie, we see that there is a past hunter who's still alive, which is Celine. It's like, well, can she still do it? What's stopping her from doing it? Is the power passed on literally? There's some ambiguities for sure, and maybe I missed some of that in the film, but I don't think that the movie's too concerned with kind of the metaphysics of the K-pop demon sealing power. I think it's okay leaving that kind of ambiguous.
And I mean, you need stuff for sequels anyway. I mean, this you could make sequels obviously, but it's a self-contained story.
Yeah.
So they did kind of hedge that way. So it's something they could explore later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, they I was also kind of trying to figure out how they knew that this is what they were supposed to do. Like the golden Han moon, which would essentially keep the demons out forever.
Yeah.
Like, is it just that they are the hunters with the biggest audience ever, and so them reaching that many people is what'll do it? Is probably that's what I gathered.
I mean, they do a new like protective barrier at the end with the implication that it's a different one, and so I think it's just been built up over time. I think is part of it.
So they just got the sense that they're close.
Yeah.
If they release this last song and nothing else happens, they're fine.
But then at the end of the film, they start a new one completely. So presumably the door is left open for them to return to the world and return for sequels if they want to.
Yeah.
I think the story, it definitely, it's a good reminder that you can just tell whatever kind of story you want. Because I think that the premise for this film is kind of campy a little bit in a good way. They're K-pop idols, they fight demons, they do both. And it's a little absurd, but in a very positive way. It's unique, it's singular. As a storyteller, you can just make up a magic system. You can just tell whatever story you want to tell. And I think it's a very interesting approach to tell this kind of double life story. It's something we used to see in the old Spider-Man films that I think has kind of been lost in a lot of the newer ones as superhero stories have become more popular. But to tie the magic system to these songs, I mean, it's what enables it to be a musical. And then every song doubles as kind of these intense character moments where you're exploring the inner world of one of the characters and a fight scene, oftentimes.
Yeah.
Where they're literally exchanging blows. And that works for kind of like a montage. You want to have a montage, or you want to have an action set piece. And you want it to be set to a high energy song. Then the song is already there. It's ready to go. It's sung by the characters.
It's relevant to the fight they're currently fighting.
Exactly.
And it musicals, I mean, I'm not a huge musical guy, mainly because I feel like a lot of the songs are forced. Yes. And they're not supposed to be realistic. Musicals aren't realistic, but this one, they tied it into the plot. Yeah. They tied it into the stories, to the characters' arcs and the fights that they were fighting. And they add a ton of little details, like their weapons change colors. Like whenever Rumi, who's the main character of the trio, and then Gino, I think is his name. I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. But they confront each other on a rooftop, and her blade's like purple
Yes.
because she's like in turmoil and angry. Whenever it's normally blue, like the Han Moon is. So it turns more of the color as of the evil barrier, like the demons come through.
Yeah.
And so it kind of flows through there as she gets confused as she goes throughout the movie. And so that's all incorporated with the fight scenes, the choreography and stuff, which is really, really well done.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the music's really well done. The animation style is really good. The choreography is done really well.
Yeah. They have these wide flowing shots where like the camera just moves as if it were a character within the world. During some of the fight scenes, especially like the bathhouse
The
fight
bathhouse
scene,
one is really good.
it's very fluid camera work. It's really artfully done. It's hard to oversell how well everything's done. I think from a production point of view, the characters are all unique. They're expressive. They're animated in these really delightful, really unique ways. And then these fight scenes paired with the music, it accomplishes exactly what it wants to accomplish perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, it does do, the movie does do a lot of things well.
Yeah.
And it seems like they cared about every aspect of it. There's a lot of details hidden in like the backgrounds, the continuity, and even the like just the patterns on the main character and the rest of the demons. Like, a lot of the demons are individualized.
Yeah.
Eventually they do get into like there's this water demon, they all look the same. There's these demons that you find on the train, they all look the same. Which I would call lazy if they didn't have other points where you could see that they cared about the details. Man, the animation was so good that I didn't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, is there anything this movie did poorly in your mind?
Well, I mean, I think there were a couple of things that it did that I would have liked to have seen better. I think sometimes the flow from scene to scene was a bit choppy. Because they're going places often, they're going places and they're fighting demons. And so sometimes they would be talking in their apartment or their penthouse, and they would leave and go fight some demons on a train, and then they would cut back to a different scene. They'd be like having the same conversation throughout, but it's 3 different scenes. Personally, I think it could have flowed a little bit better. Some of those transitions could have been smoothed out, I think. I think we can delve into this one more as we kind of work our way through the plot. But I think the status of the demons themselves is in this weird gray area.
Yeah.
That it leaves some ambiguities that I think are interesting. I think probably the simplest answer for a lot of my questions is that it doesn't matter. They were not thinking about it.
Yeah, but the whole point
sometimes
is
it gets a little odd at times. So kind of the main driver of the plot is that they're coming up on this Han Moon, which is the golden protective barrier that banishes the demons forever. But the main character, Rumi, she is herself a demon hunter and half demon. And it's implied that it is her father in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's her dad.
Because Celine mentions that Rumi's mom dies, and then Celine wanted to take care of whatever was left of her mom. And so she's kind of adopted this mentorship, motherly role to make up for ways that Celine maybe didn't protect her mom or wasn't able to. There was some affection there. And Rumi is this weird half-human, half-demon child, which is why she has those marks that you mentioned all up her arms. So she's always wearing like these long sleeves or these baggy clothes to cover it up. Because she's in this weird place with her friends where if they know she's a demon or half demon, will they go after her? Will they kick her out of the group? What does that mean for demon hunters generally? Because we only ever see 3. So is it stuck that way until she passes? Or does she have to pass the power on to someone else? It's a bit ambiguous. I think it's a really good main character arc because it's so versatile. She has a part of herself that she has to hide from other people that she feels some shame over. And the story is her bringing that part of herself into the light and confronting that shame. That's a very versatile metaphor. Is it depression? Is it a sexual identity? Is it being biracial? There's all of these different ways that you can read the main character's arc. Super versatile. Kind of like what we were talking about with the Hunger Games themselves. That's a very versatile metaphor, and it's central to the story. You can read it in all these different ways. I think that Rumi's her character arc is very versatile as well. I think that there's enough specificity that people get it, but there's enough ambiguity that people see themselves in it, even if their situations are dramatically different. I think that that's part of what resonated with so many people watching this film.
Is the relatability.
Yeah.
Because it's really just hiding shame, and how do you deal with shame and
Exactly.
secrets in general.
And I think that it latches onto shame, which I think is very clever, because there's a lot of things that produce shame. You know, if the movie's just about like being biracial, for example, if that were the thrust of the film, there would be an aspect of it where some people I think would check out. You know, it even if it honestly is portraying and really comprehensively showing what a biracial person is going through. You know, maybe they're in a culture that isn't very accepting of that, and there's some tension there. I think some people would still check out a bit.
If it doesn't relate to them.
Right. And I feel like a lot of audience members wouldn't do the extra legwork of trying to understand that situation and generalizing out kind of something more relatable. You know, something an audience member can do. They can be like, oh, well, there have been times where I felt like I didn't fit in. And yeah, that feels awful. This character, you know, I would hate to be in their shoes or something along those lines. But I feel like making it shame itself, it's just any situation that produces shame. You know, are you depressed when you should be happy based off your circumstances? You know, is there some sexual or racial identity that you're concealing from your peers that you feel ashamed of for some reason? Is there some weird competency drive? You know, you feel like you have to be the best in your field, or you have to live up to everyone's expectations of you. There's all these different things that produce shame in a person. And so I feel like making shame the central part of her character arc, it enables the audience to kind of read into it in whatever way they can. Because it's not something particular. It's more just a specific emotion.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's throughout the entire movie and the music as well. Like Golden is all about is kind of all about that that struggle with shame and secrets and stuff. And it, like you said, the movie feels campy up until like the bathhouse scene.
Right.
I felt like where all of a sudden it pivots, because I was watching this movie and to be honest, I was kind of like, okay, this is a fun kids movie. Like, oh, okay, like it's the music's good, the animation's good, like it's a fun watch, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the bathhouse scene happens, and then whenever Junior like covers up her patterns, I was like, hold up, what is happening? What's there's something more here than just a standard kids movie. And then it gets darker, and then it gets more personal from that point on. And so I think they introduced it very well too.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean that is, I guess that is just kind of the message of the movie, is how do you deal with secrets and shame. And it is good to, it's a good message for kids, which is the target audience. But this movie is kind of dark. It's very dark, and they portray it in a good way, and it's not problematic, I don't think, but I'm going to talk about it like it's problematic, because those people that the demons kill, like take the souls of, are actually dead. They don't come back. There's one point where the hunters are on top of a moving train and everyone inside is dead. And they just move on.
That's fair.
They just move on.
There are these weird lines where they're like, disappearances have been up and nobody knows what to do about it. It's framed as like this weird panic within the city and the surrounding areas.
But only for a part of a montage.
It's this weird one throwaway line.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, the demons have consumed so many people and they're all gone and they're never coming back.
Which, like, at first I thought...
interesting.
At first I thought, is this where the demons come from?
Yeah.
But Guima just eats them.
Right.
So, and Guima is kind of like a basically Satan.
Yeah.
He's essentially, because whenever he's talking to Ginu in the flashback, he's just saying that you're not good enough, you're not what, you're never going to be able to provide for your family, it's all your fault. And that's kind of how Christians view Satan, and like how as a character, that's all he does is whisper like lies and shame into your ear.
For sure.
And then you get to see these characters react to those lies. Even though Ginu is kind of a terrible human being. He's kind of horrible.
So let's talk about Gino a little bit. He's from the 18th century, I believe. I think is what the year they went with.
It's like
If not
400. Yeah,
older.
because I don't know what year this takes place.
Okay, so he's old.
It's 400 years. He's 400
but
years old.
yeah. His shtick. He's the villain of the film. He's a demon. He used to be a human until he took a deal with Guima to essentially live a life of ease. So he makes this deal with the Demon King. The Demon King gives him this great voice, really empowers him through the arts, and that enables him to move up the ranks. He's no longer poor, but he does so at the cost of abandoning his family. So he moves up and his family stays where they are. So there's this abandonment that's central to his character. But then this deal with Guima turns him into a demon. And they don't frame it like it's a weird half-demon thing, like with Rumi. They're just like, oh, he's a demon. He's a demon. He made the deal. He made the Faustian bargain. He is a demon now. And so he lives forever. And Guima presumably has some kind of literal control where he can force him to do things. But also he's just speaking into his ear all the time. He's whispering. He's what empowers him. And he can kill him whenever he wants. So there's this weird duality to the demons, where on the one hand, Rumi is presumably, the daughter of a demon. So there's this weird biological sense to it, right? Where it's a trait that's passed on from one generation to another. But then on the other hand, we see people who seem to do the more traditional selling their souls to the devil. And they become a demon that way. So then when the demon hunters are mowing down all of these demons, there's this weird dual nature to it. Because are they mowing down people who have sold their souls to the Demon King? If they are, that's fine. That's pretty clear cut. Don't sell your soul to the Demon King. You won't be killed by angels, essentially. That seems pretty straightforward to me.
Well, and does that mean that Guima already ate their soul?
Yeah.
Is that kind of what that would mean then?
That they're not really people, they're these weird husks, or they're led by their worst impulses only. They're not really human anymore. But then once it becomes this genetic trait that can be passed on to Rumi, it's like, well, are these people? How many of them are people? How many of them made awful Faustian deals where they sold out their families so that they could have temporary riches and power? And how many of these are just people who were born this way? Because which one it is affects how I feel about all of these peppy montage scenes where they're killing dozens of them.
Yeah, right.
Is it because and I think Rumi's story really works this way. It's like a biracial metaphor. It works less well if we then make her this weird racial purist who goes around killing. Yeah, you see, I know you're not supposed to think about it that way.
Well,
there's
look,
this scene though.
This is what this is all about. This is what we do.
There's this scene in the film where Rumi is talking with Mira, and she goes, "Hey, I think we should change the lyrics to the song about us wanting to stomp demon skulls into dust." And Mira's like, "Well, why? What do you mean?" And Rumi goes "Well, it sounds a bit hateful, don't you think?" And Mira just goes, "Yeah. We hate demons." Yes, Rumi, we're bigots.
That's a little.
We hate them. We want them all dead. And Rumi's like, well, maybe not all of them. Maybe there's some good ones. And it's like, what am I supposed to do with that scene?
I mean,
yes, we hate them. We should hate them. It's like, well, but some of them are born that way.
Well, and that's
which is weird.
Well, my problem is Rumi has known that she's half demon
for her whole life,
forever, and it's never once occurred to her that this could maybe I should figure out, are these actually people?
Yeah, she never seems to have that moment.
Because her dad was a person.
Well, and even her interactions with his name's Junie, right? Junie, Juni
Junie or Junie, I can't remember.
I
may have been missing it this whole time. I'm gonna
be
alive.
Massacred by the online fan base for this film, rightfully so, for getting the character's name wrong, which I apologize for in advance.
Genu,
okay. has this scene where he's like trying to talk to her for the first time, and she's just trying to kill him. She's just trying to kill him,
Yes.
which I get.
Even at the end of the conversation.
But then he has the sacrifice moment at the end of the film where he gives up his life so that they can win. It's like, well, they're clearly creatures who can repent. They're clearly creatures with autonomy. They're creatures who can pass on their genes. It's like, that's a lot of things.
Well, they can love. I mean, we knew that they could feel
Yeah.
shame. That's kind of the salient feature of all the demons.
Right.
But there's a love story there. There's an arc in the middle of the film that kind of just goes away at the end.
Yeah.
Which I felt was a little abrupt, in my opinion. I mean, I understand intellectually why, but it just felt weird.
The finale's rushed in a lot of senses.
It is very rushed, and it makes the sacrifice not as, like, it just doesn't hardly mean anything to me because it feels unresolved. It feels like Rumi doesn't even care that much.
Right,
Besides
yeah,
it being
they
a person.
they never address it after the fact.
No, she's just back to it.
So there's this weird, like, well, he was a demon.
Well,
That's fine.
I feel like an interesting question would be what are the other members of the boy band? Are they like, did they have a bargain?
Are those monsters? Because there's this one weird shot where I think it's Mira. She just cuts one up. She does like this long slash down his chest and then just slashes across his stomach. And we just watch him dissolve.
Yeah.
Was that a person? Is that a person that happened to?
I feel like this is going to get retconned into oblivion. I feel like they're going to be like sent somewhere and it's like not that bad. And it's fine.
It might not be. I just think there's some situations where ambiguity works really well. Mm-hmm. The Hunger Games, Rumi's character arc, and there's others where I think specificity helps your story. The aesthetics of the capital in the Hunger Games, the nature of the demons. I think there's these moments where being ambiguous leads to these weird misreadings almost, where a person can kind of interpret these gaps in logic whichever way they want. I don't know. I just don't think
there's a world in which they aren't killing something.
Yeah.
And like no matter how you read this, they used to be somebody, and if the whole story is about shame and then how you deal with that shame and then ultimately redemption in the case of Genu, then all of these demons probably had a way to redeem themselves. So you're killing somebody with some sort of potential. And so then that train scene is even worse because the people underneath die, but then they kill hundreds of people on top of the train. So that scene kills like 400 people.
Well, and with demons, so like in a Christian tradition, for example, there's often this critique of fallen humans can be redeemed, but fallen angels can't.
Yeah.
And there's this misconception of that as punitive. You know, why don't the demons get a chance at redemption? But the doctrine there has always been, these were angels that stood in the presence of God and had full knowledge of God, and despite perfect knowledge and a direct experience of God, chose to rebel, knowing it was a bad idea and knowing the full consequences of it. So it can't be rectified with more knowledge, and it can't be rectified with more experience. And that's always been kind of the Christian line towards demons. You know, do they need more knowledge or more experience? Like, are either of those going to help, or is it just are they going to do it again? With these demons, there's not that sense. We get there's no
God. There's no There's Satan, but there's no.
It's not nested within this kind of macro religious meta narrative. It's just something that happens. You know, they are demons. They're creatures. They exist. But they seem to have imperfect knowledge. You know, it seems like they can grow as people. They also seem to be material because they can have kids. So it's like all of the regular justifications that make us not feel bad about mowing down demons aren't there.
Yeah. They're going to have to do some real gymnastics to try to say that these people were just nobodies.
Right.
And these are your main heroes. And they're unbothered. They're unbothered by anything for like after 2 minutes of something happening, they're fine. they're fine. And maybe that's just the artistic I don't know, like I don't know. I don't know if it's certain art like style of storytelling. Like some creative liberties were taken where these characters are just going to be unfazed by things. But it does feel, it makes it at the ending especially feel very rushed.
Yeah.
because she just doesn't deal with any sort of grief. Like the girls cry
Yeah.
together afterwards in the bathhouse, but that's just them talking about each other and about how much they care about each other, and not about the people that they lost.
And I think that the Rumi Chinu relationship, it's very interesting. I think it's one of the most compelling parts of the film.
I agree.
The resolution being this impromptu sacrifice followed by no one mentioning it, I think is a bit weaker than it deserved.
And I don't think fixing it by saying, "Oh, he's still alive," I don't think that fixes it.
Yeah.
Unless you also admit that the demon hunters knew the whole time that these demons aren't actually dying.
Well, and there's this interesting scene where after her identity is revealed to her teammates, Rumi goes to Celine and says, "Hey, kill me, please. I'm a demon." That's insane.
So she isn't aware if there is a place where they go after you kill the demons.
She doesn't seem
After
to
hell, there's not
care.
another hell.
right. And she's just in this deep despair. Like just this complete and utter despair. She's like, "Hey, kill me. I'm a little bit of this. There's a little bit of demon in me. Please kill me. I'm ashamed of it." It's like that's a crazy thing to ask your mentor. In a family film, no less.
Yeah.
A family, urban fantasy musical. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I think it's an effective scene.
It is.
I think
It's very moving. It's very potent. It's central to the character arc. It's the pivot point. You reach this the point of deepest shame, and then you pivot from it. I think that's very effective, even if what comes after is a bit rushed.
Yeah. And I also was curious, like, what you thought. Why is she turning into a demon now?
Yeah.
Why is her voice going out now? Because that happens before the boy band, I think, comes up.
Yeah.
So it just seemed like
The
it
boy
came out of
band,
nowhere.
I mean, I think you can say that it's because of the Han Moon, and they're coming up on this moment of magic power. But also, like, the boy band shows up, and they're pretty. They instigate the plot in a lot of senses.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing. The boy band. The demons have been fighting triads of female musicians for centuries. And Chinu has been gifted with the power of song, and the arts for 400 years. And at no point did any of the demons go, "Hey, what if we fought the song people with songs? What if we did that?" Because he proposes it, and the demons laugh. It's like, is it that ridiculous? Hey, what if we did what they're doing? That would never work.
Well, I mean,
That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard in my life. It's like, what are we doing,
You
guys?
go back to Christian tradition, though, where it's believed that
well, this is Korean.
Well, I'm saying Satan has these tricks that he uses, and they're never different. As humanity has progressed, they manifest differently, but he has the same toolkit. And so him leading all the other demons, they're just going to try to brute force it because it's going to work. And in Christian tradition, Satan knows he's going to lose.
Yeah,
but he keeps doing the same things over and over and over again.
That's true.
Until you have this third voice that you don't have in whenever you read the Bible. And this just works because it's almost identical to Satan. Because in the way that he operates.
I find the Guima Satan, demons, Christian demons and the Korean demon, I find that a useful comparison because I think we bring our assumptions to these Korean demons.
Yes.
We kind of project our assumptions onto them with what we're familiar with. I still think they're fighting you with song all the time.
I know.
All the time.
I know.
Maybe 8 generations in, you're like, you know what? We should sing songs too. Because they're really good at it. Immediately. Instantly. I'm nitpicking the heck out of this film. It's a short film. It's a quick film. It's a creative film. It does so much so well.
Yeah, but I mean, this feels a little integral to the whole plot, though. Yeah. Like they just now found out that the music has power in reverse. Not to just limit the hunter's power, but they're actively manipulating people with their songs by the end of it.
It's like
even the hunters.
Well, and that's another thing, right? Because Junie, he's super old, so there's this problematic vampire age gap in the relationship.
Well,
a la Twilight.
I mean, yeah.
I look 19, but I'm actually 400 years old.
I mean, is it problematic?
It's a little problematic.
What makes it problematic?
Um,
She's over the age of 18.
he's 400. He
And she's like 20.
has already had a family that he abandoned.
Was that?
That's a red flag minimum.
Was that it? So I can't remember. Was that his wife and daughter, or was that like?
I think that was the implication.
Or is that like? Was that
Or
like
a
his
mother
mom and
and
his little sister?
Either way.
I can't remember.
Either way. Hey, I abandoned them forever. They died. That's a red flag, at least.
That is a red flag for sure.
I'm 400 years old.
He's a terrible person.
I don't think a 400-year-old can have an ethical relationship with anyone under the age of like 250.
Wow.
That's what I'm going with.
That's crazy.
I think
that's like term limits in Congress, like radical that you just said. Right
yeah, I think anyone over the age of 150 shouldn't be allowed back in Congress.
Wow.
We should kick them out at that point.
You're being brave.
Only the boldest takes.
Only
happen on this show.
Only on here.
I think he's a demon. He's 400 years old.
Are you saying that are you assuming that there's like a power imbalance because of how much knowledge he has?
I'm assuming he's killed thousands of people.
Oh, sure, but so is she.
Well, but she doesn't feel it that way. Maybe.
Well, okay.
That doesn't feel it that way.
See, there's a lot of movements in history that as long as they don't view the people they're killing as people, it's fine. I don't think that is problematic. That is
I think
a red flag.
I've had enough. I've had enough of the weird age things. Just have the character be that age. Yeah. Oh, he looks 20, but he's really 400. Oh, she looks 12, but she's actually 900. How about the characters the age that they look like? Like, let's not be unreasonable with it. I've never seen somebody do it in a story and thought, like, you know what? I liked that. That worked really well, and I understand why they did that.
No, it's because 25-year-olds can't be interesting. They have to be 400.
Right. It's like, oh, he's 400 years old. Does he speak a different language? Is he weird and out of touch culturally? It's like
if he was like ultra powerful and like verging on all knowing,
right,
it would be a little different.
I would accept it if there was an aspect of his character that necessitated it. He acts and talks really like a guy who was born, 25 years ago. There's nothing unusual in his actions or demeanor. He makes jokes about it, but like we see the other demons have similar outfits, similar powers. There's nothing in the words that he's using that really conveys it either. If he spoke in these archaic words, it felt like Dracula. It's like, oh, this guy's been around so long, his vocabulary is different. He has all these intense powers from his deep studies. It's like, well, he's just kind of a guy. He's just kind of singing a song.
Well, he almost seems, the way they portray him is almost like he stopped aging at however old he was.
Yeah.
Paused for 400 years. And he just all of a sudden has modern language.
And modern sensibilities. He's great with the cameras. He's great with the culture. He's suave. I get that that's probably part of the demon pact he made.
Oh, sure.
But...
And the demons have their own culture that's, I would assume, moving along with human culture. Well, as far as in order to understand human culture.
They don't attempt the song gambit.
No, you can't do that. That's new gambit. And scary and different. So we can't do that.
It's so baffling.
It didn't even occur to Guima. Like
he's like, you want to fight the songstresses with song? It's like, that's stupid. Why would you do that? And he has to sell him on the idea.
And then they flash the earrings and they're like, yeah, that works.
That's the first idea. And they're like, oh, well, we have attractive demons too. He's like, oh, well, that settles it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go with that plan.
No, I think I'm sold on what you're saying here.
The age gap, I just don't see the need for it. It's not interesting. It's not compelling.
They don't do anything with it.
That's really what it boils down to.
And that's outside of the relationship, I guess.
Like, look at something like The Last Airbender, where he's 100 years old. He's 112 because he was frozen in the ice for 100 years. They're dealing with that every single episode of the show. Hey, remember how you got frozen in the ice for 100 years and can't relate to anything that's going on because culture moved on without you and all your friends are dead? That's every single episode of the show, essentially. Like, it's central to his arc. It's central to the character. In this, it's like, he's 400. Maybe that's because they didn't want him abandoning. Probably what it is, it's a simple way to get rid of his wife and child without them being in the picture right now. Because if his wife and child are like going to concerts and stuff, this becomes a much less fun film. if they're even in the picture at all, it's a lot worse to kill him at the end. If they're long dead, Rumi's there comfortably, whether it's his wife or his mother. It's not super clear when I was watching the film. He just said family a lot. Whichever it was, Rumi can be there, just engaging with him as normal. It's an aspect of the character I can do without, I think is what it boils down to. If you're not going to do anything interesting with it, it doesn't need to be there. I think that's a good character rule of thumb.
No, it's his mother and little sister.
Okay.
I didn't even consider that it may be a wife or something until you said that.
So it's his mom and
According
sister.
to the K-pop Demon Hunters fandom, there's no official lore documentation about K-pop Demon Hunters from Sony that I can see.
Fair. I don't see the need for it.
I don't either. I just think it raises uncomfortable questions. Simply because it feels incomplete.
That's what a lot of my issues with the film boil down to. It's like, well, I'd like to learn more about that, which is a good problem to have.
And they may do it later, but I just feel like no matter what they do in future movies, it's not going to excuse the actions that the characters made with the information they had at the time.
I would agree with that, I think. So let's talk a bit about Mira and Zoe, because they're the other two of the triad. They're also mowing down demons all the time, which is a choice. But
they were brainwashed.
I think they're fun characters. What's your take on them?
No, I think they are fun characters, and they essentially are like a specific type of personality. Like Mira is like kind of rough, kind of not very approachable. And then Zoe is a people pleaser, and she personifies that, and she's bubbly and she's more optimistic, but she's like a ruthless rapper. So and they think that it works with their dynamic really well, and Rumi is kind of her own thing. Like she doesn't have like a personality that she personifies into a character. She just has essentially the mission, and she just kind of acts like a normal person. Yeah. I would like if you had to pick a main character, that's kind of how they would portray her. And I think they complement Rumi really well. I think they work really well as a group. Yeah. Throughout the film. And I like how their weapons kind of like Zoe has daggers, and then Mira has a scythe. Yes. And then Rumi just has a sword. So it's I think that works really well too. Yeah. I think that they did a really good job with the characters working together.
And I think it's wonderful how expressive they are. These characters are so expressive, more than any others that I've seen in a long while. Their eyes change, their faces change. The models contort so that they can be more expressive. It really goes a long way, I think, for the visual language of the film. And it makes these characters a lot more unique and relatable. I feel like they're allowed to respond to things. Or like the bit where they keep wanting to sit on the couch. They just chant like couch, couch, couch. Like it feels like a real friend group that you would run into. I think often, especially for like female characters in stories, there's this pressure on women to be kind of cardboard cutouts. Or to like fall into a couple different tropes. Maybe they're like the wise old sage of purity, or they're like this weird, promiscuous vixen. Rebel-ish. Yeah, it's like, well, they're either Catwoman or they're, I don't know, some
Queen Elizabeth II.
Yeah. It's like these are people. These are human beings. These are people who actually exist in real life. That's very refreshing to see. And I think that that's another huge factor for why the movie's done as well as it's done. Just allowing women to be expressive, to have personalities. It shouldn't be something that's that unique.
Groundbreaking, and
it shouldn't be.
Like super popular just because of that.
But it is. I mean, and it's really nice to see. Yeah. These are wonderfully expressive characters.
Yeah. No, and that's why it of course I'm going to hyperfixate on the things that aren't set in stone. But it's like I really like these characters. Yeah. I really do. It's just, are they mass murderers committing more crimes? and that's like, it's like, oh, I don't know. I want to find out.
So here's another thing with the characters that you're making me think of. You want to find out more about them. With Mira, there's this idea that she's left her family to pursue this.
Yeah, they call her the problem child.
Yeah. And she has this bit where she's kind of falling into the demon's pull, which is portrayed at the end of the film, kind of as this all-encompassing despair. Your worst thoughts, your darkest feelings. Mira is dealing with, well, I shouldn't have a family. You know, I don't deserve a family. And then she's dealing with this. She says it very concisely with like, I'm too much, but I'm not enough. It's like, that's really good. That's a real fascinating character dynamic to have. It's so well written. But then do they really get scenes after that? Like they get one in the music number, like they stand up and then they get the bathhouse scene and they talk about the couch some more. And it's like, this is a really charming friend group. It's real intricate. It's real complex. It's so well put together and depicted. But I almost feel like Zoe and Mira don't have arcs. They're there. They don't grow all that much.
You feel like their insecurities aren't dealt with? Is that what you mean?
Like
It's
yes.
revealed and used, but it's not dealt with. And I would almost, I mean, Rumi, I guess, had hers dealt with.
I think so. I think it's the thrust of the film, so it gets a lot more screen time.
Yeah.
Zoe and Mira, their arcs feel like a switch. It's like, well, I was this and now I'm this. Now, very suddenly. I get that it's a short film. And my complaint here really is just, these are such good characters. I wish we had more of them.
Yeah,
I wish that we could delve into their issues more. And
that's all you want from a one-off original movie that you make, is that the audience just wants to learn more.
It's a good place to be as an audience member. It means the storyteller's done their job effectively. I just wish we'd seen more of their internal worlds. Because when you see them, they're so fascinating.
Yeah, and I just hope they're not serial killers. Like,
It's like
if you put it like this, these are fantastic characters. They work so well together. They have good arcs, and the only thing that I would critique is that we don't know enough about them. Yeah, which is a good problem to have
for sure.
But they could also be killing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah, and
that feels relevant to some degree.
That's why I mentioned like the Christian demons thing, because it's like we have this cultural idea that we import over to this kind of Korean model, which is like, well, demons are irredeemable monsters because they know better. With Christian demons, it's like, well, they don't need more information. They don't need more experiences. They had the maximum amount of both, and they still chose evil, knowing it was a bad idea. With these demons, there's this weird ambiguity where is it genetic? Is it chosen? Like, are they all Faustian bargains that just people that have sold their souls for some reason? There's this ambiguity, and it's this weird thing that's central to the story. I don't know. It's tough. I don't know what to make of it.
So it looks like there's two main different types of Korean like demon types.
Okay.
I'm not going to try to pronounce either of these, but they have
we appreciate
goblin like spirits that can either help you or harm you. And then there's another type that's they call it like this AI review says vengeful ghosts who've died with regrets.
Okay.
So could there be both of these types, or are they just picking one type?
There could be both,
but they don't make that distinction.
Well, it might be implicit. It might be a cultural thing that doesn't translate super well if you're just an American who's not paying attention.
Sure, that's possible. Yeah.
But then also, we know for a fact that the boy band members used to be people. We're pretty sure, at least. At least
one of them is.
At least one of them. At least the main one. They tried to kill him so fast. No questions asked. No attempt at empathy. They tried stabbing him. They were going to stab him to death.
Well, what about the ones on the plane? Like, are they taking on their former human form?
Or just generic human form? Well, we have the demons who take the shape of Mira and Zoe at the performance.
Oh, that's true.
They can clearly take the forms of people that they're not.
Mm-hmm. But the flight attendant looked like herself whenever she's going to talk to Guima, whenever she dies.
Oh, but then, yeah, she did. She kept looking like a human, but she had these weird moments where she was pouring coffee into things that didn't belong. She was pouring it into like flowers and stuff, and she was acting all weird and inhuman.
Which means that okay.
And that's what gave it away. So maybe they've never been human. But I think the issue that I'm getting stuck on is if any of them are humans, you're killing someone sometimes.
The only way that it works is if Gina was the only one that was a human, and so she assumed that he wasn't human and just kept trying to kill him, and then slowly finds out he was a human.
So what about her dad?
There's been two.
There's been two.
There's
They're
been
the
two.
two important ones.
And there's only been two.
Okay. But then
we can say that with certainty.
Then there's only let's put yourself in Rumi's shoes. There's only been one, and it's your dad.
And there's another one.
Okay, but then imagine before Genu.
Okay.
There's only one. It's your dad. Don't you think that you'd hesitate a little bit before killing him? Wouldn't there be some doubt in the back of your mind? Or you're half demon. Wouldn't there be a hesitation?
Yeah, it's like she compartmentalizes the two. Like, I'm half demon, so I'm gonna kill all of these other full demons, even though if I,
right,
I'm partly them, and I'm only killing them because they're them. As Mira eloquently puts, we hate demons.
Right? Yeah, we do hate them. We wrote a song about how much we want to kill them.
Yeah,
it's.
I do like the scene after she talks to Genu.
Don't know about that.
And she's going through and tries to interrogate one of them.
Yeah.
Before she kills it and says, like, "Are you being held against your will by Guima?" And then Mira just stabs it in the face.
That makes it worse. That makes it worse.
But then she just doesn't change. Like, she seems like she hesitates.
Yeah.
But she still keeps killing them.
I feel like that's almost the worst thing. Or like if I'm one of their friends, if I'm Zoe or Mira, I know for the rest of my life that Rumi is capable of killing things without hesitation that are her. There would always be a doubt in the back of my mind. Like, well, is she going to kill me someday? Again.
Because it could have just as easily been humans.
It's not what the film is.
It could have easily been.
It's not
flipped.
K-pop Human Hunters.
What if
that's
she
Squid
had
Games.
Wait a second. Hold on.
That's the premise of that.
So hold on. They don't ever say that her father died.
I am not sure. If there was,
I don't think they do.
I took it that he was dead. If that's not explicitly said, I missed it. Maybe I made an assumption.
Well, they just go out of their way to say that her mom died, and they just kind of make it a distant, like, oh, her father was a demon, which it does feel impersonal and like he's dead, or it doesn't matter if he's alive. But it seems like the perfect setup for there to be a movie later, where her dad comes back.
That's possible. It is possible. I think it's fruitful ground for a sequel if you want to explore it. I also think maybe leaving some ambiguities is probably for the best. I mean, this is a series. It's a family series. It's not intended for probably this degree of delving into, as fun as it is to do.
Yeah.
I don't think many kids are kept awake at night by this.
I am.
Maybe
I'm not a kid.
Maybe they are.
But
I don't know. I think the more I think about it, the bigger a deal it is. Because if the movie works as like this weird biracial or maybe
crisis of identity, secrets,
racial, gendered sexuality, something else entirely. It's like, are you mowing down people of that group that are like you? Like the part of you that you're ashamed of, do you see that in others and do you just wipe them out?
Well, is that just
to protect yourself?
Is that just
it's a weird metaphor.
Is it a metaphor for hypocrisy?
I don't think
just
so.
personified as demons?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
The movie never interrogates her for it. There's
sure,
never this moment. So I don't think the movie or the text, I don't think it's aware of this weird tension in itself. The movie, it does so much well, but I think regardless of your reading of it, you kind of have to ignore
a lot
that she's killing creatures that deeply, at a profound level, remind her of herself. And that these creatures, they're not dreams, they're not weird psychic manifestations of her inner turmoil. These are beings that exist outside of her and had their own lives before her, and if they escape an encounter with her, have their own lives after. It's a weird place to be. I don't know. I think it's a tension in any reading of the story. I don't think we can get around that. I think it's just there.
Yeah, and I just don't know how you clarify it. You've taken some serious hard stances, as in there is a body count of how many demons they kill. That's a hard and fast, and you've had at least two of them who were not just these spirits that came out of nowhere.
And Jimu, he has kind of this philosophy of, in the last conversations he has with her, it's like, well, we're demons. We don't really deserve that much. What can we expect other than to live semi comfortably and ignore the pain or the voices in our heads? It's like I think he can probably do better than that, man. Because
Well,
not like he
and
killed his family; he left them. I'm like that. Yeah, it's a bad thing. It's a red flag in a
he
potential
left him for
romantic
dead.
partner. Yeah. Presumably they died after, unable to support themselves.
He said, yeah, they were worse off than whenever he was there.
But it's not like, yeah, I killed my family and sacrificed their hearts to the god of immortality. Like I feel like it's a bad thing. I think you can come back from it with a whole bunch of effort. Are you a bad person? Yes. Do you deserve immediate death? Probably not. I feel like there's this weird middle ground.
And that's what it was exploring.
Yeah.
Who is worth redeeming and who isn't.
Yeah,
And
and
like-
maybe
and
he's
look-
too far gone, and I think you can see that if they do suck a lot of souls out of people. Maybe we just needed a couple more scenes of that.
Yeah, I do
We see the
there's-
other members do it. But
there's
I
a
think him
scene-
doing it would go a long ways.
Yeah, there's a scene where Rumi meets up with Gino and she says something along the lines of, I have to believe there's hope for you, because if there's not, there's no hope for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, he's a full demon.
Yeah.
And you're half demon. And so it's almost like she's saying, like, even though technically speaking, with the dichotomy they've created, he is worse than her, but she almost sees him as more if he's redeemable, that gives her a chance, even though it's completely in reverse,
Yeah.
because she's less evil if we're going by how much of a demon you are.
It's an oddity.
So, I mean, it's definitely relatable. It's like whenever you like, the things that you've done wrong, and so you view other people's things, even if they're way worse, as forgivable. But you aren't as forgivable, even if you've only done a fraction of what they've done. So that's a pretty relatable line.
Yeah.
I still keep coming back to why she started becoming a demon when she did, because Genu says that whenever they sing the free song together,
Yeah.
he says the lies are gone. Like Wima can't get through whenever they're singing and
yeah.
I would suspect in whatever communion with the Han Moon or whatever, like with the good side. She's constantly in connection with the good side, so I don't think this is Guima. And Genu reports back to Guima saying, telling him about who she is, and he's like, I can't. She's out of my grasp. I can't talk to her.
Yeah.
So it's not him doing this. So where does this come from? If she's so connected to this good side of whatever darkness and light struggle that is going on here, she's consistently in the light, but she's holding a secret. So is holding the secret, is that what makes her vulnerable? I guess shame. That would make sense.
Yeah.
If shame is what kind of drives the demons. But it comes out of nowhere.
I think that the shame metaphors, it's tough too, because Rumi's shame is shame at who she is. There's this part of her that she can't control.
It's nothing she did, and it's just that
Yeah.
she's covering up who she is, which is
Right.
she probably feels ashamed of.
It's like, well, that kind of shame, that should probably go. And then for Jimu, it's like, yeah, I abandoned my family and they're dead now. It's like, well,
That was
you probably should feel some shame for that. That probably shouldn't go away. And he wants to make it go away. He wants to forget, which is depicted as kind of a flaw or a failing.
yeah.
Just make the demons one thing. Make them one thing. Don't make them multiple things.
Because now
then
what are we left with?
We keep mixing these metaphors.
What are we left with? We're now left with the one person who did the worst, like is objectively the worst person in the film, is the one person they're trying to save. And the other people who they have no idea if they did anything wrong or not. We have no idea, are these people who used to be humans or not, killing indiscriminately. This dude abandoned his family. And she's still like, there's a chance. I know that this isn't our first episode, obviously, but this is almost very instructive of what we like to do is interrogate things that they didn't think would be interrogated, because I don't think the creators of this movie thought that it would be scrutinized to this degree.
Correct.
There's so
yeah,
many
by
like
300 million
fan
people.
theories. Like there's so many people. There's probably people with tattoos by this point, like just a rabid fan base.
Okay,
which
this is a tangent, but it needs to be said.
Okay.
Don't get a tattoo for something that came out 2 months ago. Don't do that.
I think you should.
That's a mistake.
You should at least let it go through the
It's a mistake.
91 days that Netflix tracks viewership numbers. After that, get a tattoo if you want to.
You know what I would always be terrified of? If I got like a tattoo of a character, I would live the rest of my life in fear that they're going to bring back that character and do something awful with them.
Like horrible.
Yeah. Like imagine being a guy, you're like in the 80s, you love Star Wars. Episode 6 just came out. It's the greatest thing you've ever seen. You go and get a Han Solo tattoo. You know? You're like, I got this awesome Han Solo tattoo. And it's so cool because he's only a smuggler. And
it says Han Solo never dies.
right. Yeah. You're like, oh, I love him. He's this cool smuggler. He's this rogue. He fights for the rebellion. You know, and you have it like another 60 years. And now you're in your 70s. And some guy sees it. He's like, oh, yeah, he was an awful father to Ben Solo. You're like 70 years old and your kids don't talk to you. You have to look at Han Solo's face every single time you walk past a mirror. You know, it's like, oh, you probably shouldn't have done that. You know, and it's
a metaphor for shame.
That's really what this whole episode's about. I'm just saying,
yes.
Don't get a tattoo of something that could change. It doesn't matter what it is. You will get a tattoo of a character and you'll think that it's fine. And they'll bring him back in 12 years and they'll make him a fascist and then he's on your shin forever. Don't let that happen.
I mean, imagine if somebody got a tattoo. Awful. Imagine if someone got a tattoo of like Bill Cosby. like you have
right.
you have the
this
narrative.
Is fine.
You have the narrative bad things.
What could go wrong?
You have the fictional bad things that characters do, and then you have the people who portray the people that you really can't control, even if the canon's finished.
Yeah, because so if it's the actor who's doing something. That's
like a good example I can think of is Kevin Spacey whenever he did Frank Underwood in House of Cards. He became such a Tucker Carlson had him on as the president from House of Cards in character after the whole debacle with his stuff. But it's like, imagine if you somehow got a for some reason got a tattoo of House of Cards on you, and it's just like you can't that is immediate regret. Immediate regret.
It just don't do it. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. They will change your characters. The actor will do more things, and just don't get a tattoo of something that came out 2 months ago. Don't do it. You know, let it stand the test of time.
Wait till The Hangover's over.
Right.
You're back into your normal. Like, are you listening to Golden every single day in a year? And if you are, okay, well maybe you can.
Yeah,
get a tattoo.
You don't want to be the guy who has to explain his like dark crystal tattoo to everybody at the bar. You know, is that a Muppet? That's the rest of your life. You know. And that's not shame. That's something else. That's despair. That's regret. You probably deserve that.
And your kids probably deserve to never talk to you again. Dark Crystal?
You know that there's one guy who did that. There has to be. Like, this is going to be really important, and people are going to like this.
A cultural shift.
Yeah, I'm not going to regret this.
Not even a little.
You know that's the thought going through their head at the time.
Of course. I mean, it's the greatest show. It's the greatest piece of media ever made.
If you want to get a tattoo, totally get one.
Sure.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that symbols change. You know, you don't want to be. Did you
say symbols change?
Not like necessarily the symbols themselves.
I can think of one symbol that changed.
The meaning of symbols change, and also stuff that really feels integral. It shifts over time. You know, you don't want to be flags change, symbols change. You don't want to be the Buddhist with a swastika tattoo. You know,
that's the one.
That's the one people always go to. But it's like, you don't want to do that. It's like, well, it's fine. It's like, well, but
do you realize what you sound like?
Yeah.
Like, do you realize what this makes you sound like?
These symbols, they're cultural. Like you hear what it makes you sound like. Yeah, it's because factors outside of your control. But like, why give the opportunity? Don't get an actor's face. Don't get a symbol that might change. Don't get a character's face. Go with the TIE fighter. Go with something like that. What could go wrong?
Go with the Death Star.
Yeah.
It famously pure and whole and wholesome.
You're
not
better
problematic
off,
at all.
You're better off going with the Death Star because it's inexcusably, not inexcusably, but like it's fictional. It's never gonna be real. I think that works.
Yeah.
All that to say, don't end up like Rumi, where you have tattoos that you hate and have to hide from everybody all the time. You will be ashamed of them, and they will make you kill people. You will kill people because of your tattoos, and you were stupid, and you can't.
Imagine the movie
Just don't bother.
is
man.
about Rumi got tattoos, and it's just regretting the tattoos.
That
That's what you just said.
That almost is an infinitely stronger plot. Like, were you born a demon? And she's like, no, I thought that these designs were the coolest thing when I was like 14.
And she's just thinking, as if I can work 3 jobs, I can get enough money. And then she like breaks her leg or something, so she can't work anymore. And then she meets somebody else who has tattoos, who isn't hiding them.
Maybe that should have been like the main plot of the film. She gets these tattoos, and then she meets the demons, and she realizes that the tattoos she thought were fine, cool, meaningless symbols are actually like the demon insignia. And she has to hide it so that work doesn't fire her. That's the thrust of the film in my reading. The experience of shame over changing cultural symbols over time.
So okay. I just want to put a disclaimer in here. Obviously, we live in America, so we have no clue, obviously, how the demons worked or anything like that. Like, we're superimposing our Christian worldview, if you will, onto the story here. I just looked up are tattoos taboo in South Korea? And I think they lean to be somewhat taboo.
Okay.
Somewhat. I'm not an expert. I'm just trying to see if that could influence some of what we're seeing in the movie here.
That's true. There's a cultural difference.
Like, there could be a cultural difference here that it's like she's hiding them from her fans as in her role as the K-pop star because they're taboo. But they have people who get tattoos in the movie.
Yeah.
So I think it's like I was reading. There could be like a turnaround happening with younger generation in South Korea. I don't know. I just wanted to see if that could be part of it. But I think they have some of the fans get tattoos, so I don't think that would be an angle.
So I guess we've talked a lot about the hunters element of it. Let's talk a little bit about the K-pop element of it, because it's the other half of the title. I feel like we've neglected that part of the conversation a little bit. So there are other, demon hunting stories. The big one is Demon Slayer, obviously. But this one, it is the K-pop angle that makes it unique. It's modern. It's South Korean. It is very deeply connected to K-pop, which is incredibly popular right now. What do you think that adds to the film, or what's your take on kind of that angle of the story?
I feel like, on the one hand, it seems like they handled the fame extremely well. But I also think that especially Rumi's insecurities make them rush to try to please their fans. And that's the other angle of this, that they have to please their fans in order to achieve their goal. In order for the Golden Honeymoon to do its thing, they have to please as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And so that kind of puts the insecurities of these popular like music stars or anybody who produces content for a fan base. Like, I have to make this as good as it possibly can be because all that matters is what my fans think. And so in this movie, it's a means to an end. Yeah. But I think it's an interesting way to kind of, I guess, not personify it, but kind of bring it together as a plot point and a plot device in the movie, the public opinion aspect of it.
Yeah.
So kind of like in Superman a little bit.
Yeah, the audience feels like a character, like it's watching like a Greek choir, It's what the actors or the characters have to always account for. They're always in conversation with it.
Yeah, and at some points they're outright manipulating the audience, their fan base.
Yeah.
They it's used a lot. Like whenever the fan base is threatened, that kind of say, "Oh, that's too far," and then
Mm.
they go. That's when they start fighting on the plane. They're very passionate about their fans, and then the boy band is trying Saja Boys or however you say it.
Yeah.
They're stealing the fans, and then they have to they start writing a song that goes against who they are, and that eventually becomes a huge problem whenever it's
Mm.
played at the penultimate concert at near the end of the movie,
Yeah.
because it's not who they are, it's not who the audience sees them as. So the audience does play a key
Mm.
role in multiple points.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the signing scene where they have the Soulja Boys show up, and so they have the crowds like moving back and forth as they're trying to manipulate public opinion right then and there.
It's a very fun scene.
Yeah, it's a very very funny scene. So I do like how they use the audience as almost its own plot device
Yeah.
that they have to consider.
I like the way that they cluster the audience members together. Right? Like all the audience members, they almost travel in groups of threes
Yeah,
with distinct aesthetics and personalities. It's just going above and beyond to really make each character unique. You know, the world is unique, the characters are unique. It's just really wonderfully done.
yeah, and we've talked about 3 movies now that get you into the action super quickly.
Yeah.
I think this movie does it not the best. And I'm not going to go as far as say the best, but in 3 minutes, I checked the timestamp. In 3 minutes,
Wow.
they're singing the song.
Dang.
So you have the history of the Demon Hunters, and then you have the fans who get you up to speed, to catch you up to speed in a very creative way with these people who like the individual members of the band, and they get you caught up on their backstory,
Yeah.
and then they're just singing the song.
Hmm.
So, or they go up into the plane and they have that scene.
Yeah.
So very quickly you're caught up and you know what's about to happen. And so for some reason I feel like that's really difficult for some films to do. It's to effectively convey world building without, because in this movie they tell it all, but it doesn't feel like they're trying to give you an essay and not to show you anything, because the rest of the movie is them showing you things,
Yeah.
showing the attention to detail that the creators put in and the writers put into this movie. And we haven't even talked about the lyrics. I don't know that we're going to have time to be able to go through all of the lyrics, but the lyrics are very well written
Yeah.
in conveying some of the same messages or the same themes that are happening as they hit in the movie. So that's another effective use of storytelling as well.
Yeah.
So
I think the usage of K-pop is very interesting. It's not a field without controversy. You know, there's the beauty standards. There's this work culture that's very aggressive and, you know, kind of in a nonstop grind. There's this gendered component to it as well. I think female K-pop stars get objectified a lot more than the male ones. And I think that one of the things that works really well in this story is you see the women, they're such close friends. I think that enables them to be more expressive. They form kind of a group that protects one another and enables that self-expression. They back each other up in fights and in conversations and in arguments and in songs. Zoe mentioned all of their songs are 3-part harmonies. So they're not able to sing without Rumi once she's taken out of commission towards the end of the film. I think the film does a very good job enabling these women to be expressive while basing it on an industry that I think puts very strict beauty standards and not a lot of accountability on more the managers. You know, in this film, their manager is an angel. He doesn't really have any flaws. And in the real world, I think that K-pop managers have kind of a like Harvey Weinstein reputation, where it's a bit more predatory in some senses. Not all, by any means. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just, the culture around some of it is a bit messy. I think it's something where we like the finished product. We like the bands. We like to be that audience member. But we don't always like to know the ins and outs of how the things we like are made. So I think it's an idealized image of K-pop for sure, to capitalize on kind of the more popularity, the popularity of it nowadays. And I think it makes for a very interesting story and interesting characters. I'm noting an interesting contradiction there where the characters are allowed to be really expressive and to be themselves, but I'm not sure that the same is um, allowed to most women, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. But, well, I mean, they're only really expressive whenever it's just them.
Yeah.
So, I
There's
mean,
a mask there.
and they have, and I didn't even think about this, but whenever we were talking about their insecurities, they grew up being told that any sort of imperfections or flaws needed to be hidden.
Yeah.
And so the only way that they can share those flaws and why they're so close is because they can share those flaws with each other, which is why the portrayal of Rumi is so much a deeper cut.
Yeah.
But you really only see them completely expressive whenever it's just the three of them.
That is true.
So it's not. It's. I definitely think if that environment, what you're saying, is true, that toxic culture in South Korea and in K-pop specifically.
It's in a lot of things. I
Sure,
hear about it
sure.
predominantly with the K-pop because that's the one that tends to be influential culturally. It's not uniform, but I think it's kind of a widespread.
Yeah.
I mean, South Korea, it does have serious issues with misogyny. So I think an industry that tends to concentrate women in very prominent public forward-facing roles.
Yeah, that's not in the movie at all. Like that, like
Yeah.
that kind of that
That's
misogyny you're
not
talking about.
addressed.
It's not. It's just not in there.
And I think that
it's not the
that's-
focal point of the movie, so I understand why it's. At the end of the day, it's a
Yes.
children's film.
It is.
And
It is for sure.
the agent plays a convenient role
Yeah,
in propelling the plot forward when he needs to.
absolutely.
So they're not really trying to explore the music industry side of it.
Well, but you can do it. You can explore complex themes around feminism in a
yes.
children's movie. I mean,
You
the
can.
golden
You
example is
can.
Mulan. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, it's a musical. It's all about feminism. It's about the weird gendered issues that she encounters there.
So I agree, it is important. Do you think it would have muddied the waters of this film specifically, or how would you? I guess what I'm asking, how would you have executed that? Because that would have been an interesting aspect to see in this film. Like, how would you have executed that with what they're trying to do?
I think it's all already there. I think it's just not emphasized. Like
Okay.
you're saying, they put on a mask when they're forward facing. It's them, but it's them on the clock when they're these pop
As
stars.
K-pop, they can't let the other side be seen.
Exactly. They hide the huntress aspect of it. And you're right. When it's just the three of them, they're way more relaxed. They're way more expressive. They have all these in-jokes. You know, they're doing the fun faces, the hyping each other up, the downing ramen really fast. All the stuff that friends do.
But they're still hiding things.
They are still hiding things.
Because
there's a shared intimacy
Sure.
there, which is refreshing to see. They are still hiding things.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where the growth happens in the film. But I think we have the distinction between public and private. We have the villains being an all-boy band.
Mm-hmm.
The women, so like there's this weird subtext to it. But it's like we don't ever see a good male K-pop star in the film.
Mm-hmm.
We don't ever see a bad female one. So there's already this gender divide there. It feels like the feminist themes are being softballed to the film, you know, and it feels like something that should hit it out of the park because I feel like all the components are there. I feel like they're all lined up. I just don't think it's necessarily explored.
Would it have distracted? And
I'm not sure.
Would the movie have been panned for doing so by some sectors of the viewing audience?
Possible.
By introducing that element.
Well,
if you're thinking from
'cause I
Sony's
think
perspective.
I think something very similar to this film is the Disney Pixar film Turning Red.
Yeah.
And that one, it did get the great big culture war hammer thrown at it because it was seen as being a woman's movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's talking about periods. I don't want to see that. I'm a guy. I'm not going to see the movie.
It's wild that you said that.
Don't clip that. I did the obnoxious voice on purpose so that full context
That's
is
how
not
you
me.
really feel.
I have talked about feminism for the last 10 minutes.
This is true.
I would love to see more of it in this story. I get wanting to shy away from it from the financial side of things.
If you're from Sony's
From the big corporate perspective. But then that's another component to it. It's like the girls, they have unlimited freedom as creatives. But then that's another component to it. It's like the girls, they have unlimited freedom as creatives. But then that's another component to it. It's like the girls, they have unlimited freedom as creatives. But then that's another component to it. It's like the girls, they have unlimited freedom as creatives. But then that's another component to it. It's like the girls, they have unlimited freedom as creatives. they don't seem to have to navigate any financial pressures. So then it's weird to think of the film as subject to it. I know that it is, but
So is the movie implying?
it's
And I'm not saying this is necessarily tied to the feminism conversation that you're talking about,
yeah.
but is the movie implying that because their music does speak to the soul? There's multiple times if I remember correctly, whenever they're singing, you can see inside of the fans like their soul like light up.
Yes.
So is it implying that there's something else at play here besides just music? That there's some sort of power that can soft manipulate these people into feeling something?
I mean, maybe
Or is it just
maybe a
personifying
little
what
bit.
good music makes people feel?
I think it's the latter.
Okay.
When I think about kind of the magic system or interpreting it, I think the most concise way I can think about it is that art keeps the worst parts of humanity at bay.
Okay.
So you sing a good song, it banishes the demons. You tell a great story, and it keeps us all sane and happy and moral and good. I think that can be kind of a literal interpretation of the music, which I think that's a takeaway from the film that we haven't talked about too much. You know, we don't see the demons making art outside of the boy band, but that art is popular. And so what art encourages good behavior? What art encourages bad behavior? What is the role of art in encouraging behavior at all? Because clearly there's some art that you metaphorically sell your soul to consume. Maybe it's the brainless type of content. And then there's some art that clearly edifies the soul, that builds it up in some way, shape, or form. I think there's that distinction within the film. I guess emphasizing kind of the more of the K-pop side of things, I think, especially maybe some of the more issues that only women encounter in the field.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have given Mira and Zoe more to do.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
I see the argument that it can be distracting, that you already have this central metaphor of demons and shame at the heart of the movie. But I think that you can tie some of those story arcs of Mira and Zoe, you can tie it to this kind of unexplored part of the film. The more K-pop side of it, I think, could have used some more development just because it's interesting. It's interesting. There's the characters for it. There's the pieces for it. But I think it's subtext. You know, it's subtext. It's not explicitly at the forefront of the film and the story. It's not necessary. I think it could have strengthened the film. I think it could have given Mira and Zoe something to do.
Well, and I think it's interesting to think about this is not the podcast for it, but thinking about why wouldn't Sony be incentivized to introduce those elements into the film?
That's true.
Is it purely distraction, or is it the reaction that they thought they might get?
I think the latter is more probable. I think it's a financial decision made to avoid a turning red situation.
But this was more of an international
It's true.
movie with international appeal.
Well, but I'm saying this nicely. The international appeal is to South Korea.
True.
Which is U.S. gender politics on steroids. So anything you have to avoid in the West,
You'd have to go to
you'd
a
have to
further
avoid.
extent.
Right.
In for that. Okay,
Because
I
South
see your
Korea,
point.
they're more polarized along those lines.
Sure.
Unfortunately.
Sure.
They need feminism more than anyone. Probably in the world. That might be a bit much. I might walk
crazy.
that back. I might walk that back.
That is kind of a
Top
low
10
claim,
countries that need feminism. South Korea's on the list. That's what I'll go with.
Well, and
I'll go with.
To kind of tie it all together, at the end of the movie, you see Rumi, Zoe, and Mira walking down an alleyway, and they see some fans, and they're about to take another break.
Yeah.
And then they, if I remember correctly, walk up to the fans, and like that's kind of how the movie ends.
Yeah.
So you have this thought throughout the movie: is this K-pop thing a means to an end? Are they only doing this to create the honeymoon and make it permanent? But now that that goal has been achieved, at least to some degree, it's not what they thought it was going to look like, but they have something protecting the world.
Yeah.
It is interesting that they continue to be K-pop stars even after they don't have to necessarily, because I'm sure that they have. I mean, they definitely act like they have more money than they could ever need.
Yeah.
So, but they continue doing it. So,
And then there's this weird there's been this commonality amongst the movies we've watched on this podcast.
Which we were trying to pick different ones, to be clear.
We were trying to pick different ones. We went with superheroes, kind of the 2000s dystopia action, and now we went with a modern animated film. But
yeah,
and we'll continue to branch out as we go. We want
to try to find something different.
Find something different. We don't want to do the same story every single time. But I think that one of the commonalities amongst all the stories we've dealt with so far has been this public-private split. Superman and Clark Kent. The Katniss in the games for the TV, and the Katniss off the TV. Just her. Is she the same person at the end that she was at the beginning? And I think in this, there's also that split. It's the K-pop on the one hand, and it's the Demon Hunters on the other. It's in the title. Spider-Man. It's right there. It's all there. Yeah. But
you know what the movie's about. Like, you've seen those two.
Well, and you see the two sides of them, the spider part and the man part. You instantly get it. It's brilliant.
You get it.
Now, Spider-Man 2, you watch the film, and there's one Spider-Man, which is
incredibly disappointing.
A little
false
misleading.
Advertising. Yeah.
Right. K-pop Demon Hunters, plural. I'm like, oh, there's multiple. They're on the poster, and on the poster, they're standing in front of themselves on a poster. So you really get the concept. Oh, they're K-pop really sometimes, they're Demon Hunters sometimes. That makes sense. I get that. But there is this idea of there's two parts of them. It's in the title. There's these two different parts of them. And I think they keep one part hidden from the other. And they do it with ease. It's not a struggle for them.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if they explored it a bit more, there was some tension there. But you're right. Is it a means to an end? Or do they seem to like it?
Well, they do it after their goal's achieved.
Right.
At the very least, go see the fans. Are they releasing the music? I don't know.
It's the first part in the story where those two parts of themselves aren't the same thing.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's an open question. And I don't think it explores that. Not a problem. It's the end of the film. It's supposed to be open-ended. But I think exploring the tension between those two worlds is fruitful ground as well.
Yeah. And there's also uncertainty of the two actual worlds.
Hmm.
What did this Hanmoon do that the Golden One wasn't going to do?
Yeah.
Because they're still split.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, am I understanding that correctly? I mean,
well,
correct me if I'm wrong, audience, but
please,
I don't know the lore. I don't know like what is so different besides the place and perspective they were coming from in creating it. It's a different color.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it still seems permanent.
It does.
So
yeah,
I don't. There's a little. It's open ended there too, and I'm sure they could explore it in future sequels.
Yeah,
but it's uncertain.
It is.
So yeah. I mean, I at the end of the day, I enjoyed this movie. I just don't like my main characters to be mass serial killers.
I did like the film a lot. It does so much so well. The main character arc, the animation, the music, the way that all these different elements are synthesized, the emphasis on South Korean culture, all of it was so well done. It was so artfully done. It was very well executed. There's some ambiguities with the K-pop world,
with morality,
with the demon worlds, with the status of the demons and all that.
With what's right and wrong.
I think that weakens
but everything
the film,
else,
all in all, I think it weakens the film. I'll say that.
The basic foundations of civilization, we don't know. But everything else, exceptional. And that's legitimately how I feel. And it's very weird for me to say that because it feels like I don't know the moral compass of any of these characters when it comes to killing somebody. Anything less extreme than that, I feel like I could kind of guess what they would do. But killing somebody, they're just going to do it.
It's an open question.
But I still think the movie was great.
It was good. I liked it. What would you rate the movie?
Man, we haven't rated any of the other movies.
I think we should start. What
I do too.
What are we rating the film?
Man, do you just 1 through 10 to decimal points? Or are we
can do 1 through 10 with decimal points. With decimal
points?
I'd really prefer not.
Okay.
But if you want to do decimal points for your answers,
I'll do an 8.
Okay.
I'll do an 8. I have nothing else to compare this to because I haven't rated any other films. And there is the entirety of don't know if the characters know why they're killing these people.
It's fair.
So, and that's me taking it to an obnoxious degree. So, and
Right.
I clearly recognize that, but probably an 8.
I'm gonna give it an 8 too. I think that's it does so much exceptionally
Yes.
that it deserves a rating of good. It was good. I'd recommend it to anybody. There's some ambiguities here and there that I think hold it back from being satisfying to explore all the way down. Maybe that's not what they were intending. But that's how I'm rating it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for watching. Please correct us
Please.
on anything that we don't know about K-pop, which for me is nothing besides these few songs that have been stuck in my head for the past week and a half, and I cannot get them out. But so it goes. That's part of it. But
That's part of the
please like
job.
and subscribe, and put any ideas that you have for us in the comments. We'd love to do them.
Yes.
So yeah, again, thank you for watching.